My magnolia memories guiding me back home. I know I'll always be, no matter where I roam. I am a child of Mississippi.
Hey everybody, it's the Trout. Hope you're having a great day. You know, country music's a huge phenomenon in America now. Not just in America, all over the world. And some of the richest and most famous musicians are country artists. And it's not about what we've learned over the years that people told us. It's all about rednecks, it's all about pickup trucks, it's about losing your girl on a Friday night. No, country music is more now. Sure, it hails out of the South, and it can be soulful, and it can be touching, but it can rock as well. So today I interview a great upcoming new country artist, Emily White. She's a child of Mississippi, just like the video that you got to see before this video. She's been writing songs for quite some time, and she's already performed and opened up for some well-known country acts. I believe she's on her way to becoming a star, and I hope you do too when you listen to her story about how she talks about her roots of Mississippi, how she talks about her music, and where she's going to go from here on her journey in the music industry. But before we get to that, take a moment. If you like this channel, subscribe. If you like this video, subscribe. You see the button? There it is. I like doing the videos. I love talking to these people, and I hope you do too. So coming up next, Emily White, child of Mississippi, new country artist, making her way through the country music field. But your music's kind of country, but it doesn't have that twangy country stuff going on to it. And your voice you're very unique. You know, was it an alto? I don't know, but
alto.
It's just different. And when I started listening to your music, I thought, you know, because I always listen to people first before I ever interview them, I want to make sure I like their music, because it's like, I don't want to talk to people, you know. And I listened to your music and I thought, well, first off, she's completely different than I thought you'd be, which is a good thing. And secondly, the song choices you made some covers, but you've been doing some originals too. And then you put your own spin on them.
Yes.
And we were just on America's Got Talent. One of the things is that most people have trouble with when they first start is finding who they are.
Oh yeah, it's difficult. It took me a few years, I say about 5, 6, 7 years to figure out what I wanted to do with music. Because I started playing music when I was 16, 17 years old.
Right.
And my mother sang country music, and I swore off country music. I didn't want to be anything like my mom. I wanted to be my own person and just figure it out. So I went through every single genre trying to get to country, and then I circled back. Now that I'm 27, classic country is the best thing for me. It fits me so well. It's easy. I don't have to really work at it. You know, it just kind of naturally falls out of me. And so it took me a while to get to it, but country music, classic country is the perfect fit for my voice.
Yeah, but you know what? I know you classify yourself that way, but to me, you're more modern than that. When you're doing a Police song,
The Police
and
song,
then you throw in "Hello, Darling," and I'm like, wait a minute, she's kind of all over the map, which is kind of the way I liked. But you know, and then you've got I just watched a while ago, the Mississippi. What's your title of that tune?
Child of Mississippi. That's my song.
Did you write that song? That's a cool tune.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it's a cool tune, and I like the video. I think that the one thing I liked about, and I'd never been to muscle shows before, but the one thing I liked about it was, and you kind of epitomized that, is the friendliness of the South. You just,
I get that.
You just want to sit down and have a little conversation, listen to some music, and just have a good time. There's not any egos in the room. We just kind of want to talk about things. You really, like I said, epitomize that. That's kind of what I feel from you. I feel like I wanted to sit down and listen to music and put it on and go, okay, I could ride in the back of a pickup with her. Yeah, let's go. Going
We're real
fishing,
friendly,
sure.
real friendly down south. Now that I'm up in New Mexico right now,
Right.
and it's different. It's so different here because when I
Mm.
was raised in the South, in the country, in Mississippi, we called everybody sir and ma'am.
Yep.
And
They don't do that in New
I
Mexico.
you don't do that because people take it offensively, especially the women. They think I'm calling them matronly or something, and I'm just like, no. I just I call everybody ma'am and sir, and be like, oh, I'm not a
It,
ma'am. All right.
it's funny how people are that way because I'm from South Texas originally, but I lived in Kansas City
Mhm.
for many, many years. And when my wife is from Missouri, and when we moved here, before she moved in, we were both in corporate executives. And then I told her, I said, "You're going to like it because everybody goes sir and ma'am."
Mhm. That's the way it
I
is.
said,
It's down south. Up here, it is not like that at all.
and I've run into places where people thought I was doing that to degrade them
Mhm.
because of the color of their skin. And it's like, no, that's
No,
just
you
what we
take
do here.
don't they think about it too much. It's not that deep. You
No,
know,
it's not
I
that
used to
deep.
get thumped in the head when I was a kid if I didn't call my mother ma'am or my dad sir. So it was I got burned into my brain to do so. So just it's a
So
respect thing.
you started playing guitar at 16, started writing, and tell me a little bit about
Mhm.
your history. So you
Yeah,
did both.
I started off when I think I was 10 or 11. I started on piano. And Miss Irby was my piano teacher when I was a little bitty, and I
Miss
loved
Irby.
it. I loved it so much. You know, I would go to her house after school. She's a sweet Indian woman, and she taught me how to play the basics on piano. So I took that with me. A few years later, I really wanted this guitar, and it was this garage sale guitar they were having across the street. And so my mom and dad, I begged them for it because it was $35, and I didn't have $35.
Yeah. A lot of
Like, mom,
money to you, wasn't it?
please, it's a lot of money when you're 16 years
Yeah.
old, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't have that. So they walked over next door and they bought this guitar for me. Little blue guitar, didn't have any kind of labels on it or anything. They're all scraped off, and the action between the neck and the strings was
Oh,
about this
Father.
much. My little fingers were just
Yeah.
bleeding
Yeah.
after like the third day. But I was in my room. I was in my room. I had this little keyboard sitting on the floor, and I had my guitar in my lap and the piano on the floor, transposing my chords, the C, like trying to figure out what the C was, and the G, and trying to go to the G.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
my dad walks in and sees me struggling. I was not doing a great job, and so he got me some guitar lessons, and then the rest is history. I never stopped playing, and I dropped the piano. I can play a few things on it, you know, not real advanced stuff, but I've been on guitar for about 10 years now.
And when you really had money, what kind of guitar did you want to buy?
I got a Martin now. I got my baby. She's been with me for a long time. She's got some battle scars on her now because I wear belt buckles
You
and all
scratch
that.
the
And
back of it.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's got the belt buckle scratches all the way through it, but she's got character. We love her. That poor thing. The binding has been coming up. It comes off every now and again. I got to take it to Brick Gully in Meridian, Mississippi. He gets in there and he puts that little glue
Oh,
about
yeah.
centimeter by centimeter and holds it down. It just takes forever. I'm terrified to do it because I don't want to break it.
No, 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 no. You
So
want a
I just
luthier to do it. Yeah, you want somebody to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's fantastic at it. But whenever I was in Mississippi, I'd never been this far up north before, you know, or west to New Mexico.
Right.
So Ruby, my guitar, my baby, my child, has always been in the South.
Ruby.
And it's humid, it's wet outside, never had to worry about the pressure changes. And the moment that I came up here to New Mexico in February, I was here in February and March of this year too. It's wintertime.
Yep.
So I thought I had acclimated my guitar pretty well. You know, I had her in my car with me, brought her inside. It's pretty much the same temperature because we had the fire going. And I opened up the case one time outside, and it just crackled. That lacquer on top, she's got wrinkles now. So she's got character. I'm not, it's just a strictly cosmetic thing. It doesn't affect the sound whatsoever, but she's got little wrinkles on the front now. So it's fine.
People forget they're made out of wood and steel. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wood
Yeah.
is affected by temperatures and
Mm-hmm. It expands and contracts, and it's rough. It's rough on the guitar, but I'm real sweet to her. I really am. She sounds great. She's rosewood, and oh, the sound is just so full and beautiful. Those mid tones and low tones. It's just resonates beautifully.
there is a guitar player right there. There,
Yeah.
that's what you're talking like. People are like, Is this your boyfriend you're
What
talking
is this?
about?
You treat her
No,
nice.
it's my guitar.
My
It's
guitar. It's my
like,
significant other, you know?
it's
That's
your
the number
SO.
one.
That's right, either. So you started playing, and then what made you say, "Oh, I think I want to do this for a living"?
Oh, wow. When I was, let's rewind back to when before I started playing guitar, like piano. I tell this story all the time because it was one of the pivotal moments for me when I was 9. It was one of those moments where I decided I want to do this for a living.
Right.
And it was in Alabama, Columbiana, Alabama, with my mom, and she's a singer, a fantastic, wonderful singer. She was a singer up in Nashville for a long time.
Oh, wow.
And she was singing in Columbiana, Alabama, in one of our towns we lived in, and on a flatbed trailer with a Nashville band behind her.
Huh.
And I was 9 years old, and I was out there with the boys, just playing football and whatnot. And she calls me up on stage, and my number one go-to song to sing since I was a baby was "Crazy" by Patsy Cline.
Yeah, sure.
I've loved Patsy Cline since I was little.
Right.
And so I wanted to sing it in B flat. It's "Crazy" in B flat, my absolute favorite.
What's its original tone? Do you know what
B flat.
it is in B flat? Okay.
It's in B flat. They change
Right.
it to C sometimes, but B flat is.
Yeah, because guitar players hate B flats.
No, exactly. That's
we
it
want
was
to
a unanimous
see.
groan. It's like, oh, B flat's and B flat. I grab the mic, let's go.
Yeah.
And 9 years old up on that stage. And so I get up there, I sing my song, and you could hear a pin drop in this entire stadium. Mom said there was like 4,000, 5,000 people at this place. And I was 9. I couldn't see anybody but maybe the first 5 people.
Oh, yeah, I know how that goes. You can't see.
You know? So it didn't hit me. But
Mm-mm.
then I stopped singing and I got a standing ovation. I'm like, wow, I see this. This is great. I'm going to do this. So I
I think I can
singing.
enjoy this.
I think I could do this for a living. So Mom would bring me up on stage with her all the time and sing with her. And I owe it all to my mom. She was the one who gave me the love for music. It wasn't my dad, because he can't carry a tune in a bucket. But
Well, but you know what? You never, as they say, acorn never falls far from the tree. And a lot of times people, if their parents do one thing, they want to do completely opposite because they want to be involved in it. I don't want to,
exactly.
no, you're doing what? No, I don't want to do that.
I never wanted to be perceived as riding coattails, so that's why I wanted. Mom was a musician to do country music. I'm like, well, I love music. I'm going to sing music, but it's not going to be country. So we're going to do something else. But here I am, like full circling back to my roots, and I'm grateful for it.
So you travel now, you start playing more gigs and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Is it hard for somebody like you to find, do you have an agent? I mean, do you have booking people that help you find, or you do your own thing, or?
Well, it's kind of between me and my mom and Marianne here that I'm staying with, one of our family friends. She helps booking up here.
That's good.
But it's mainly just a family unit. We call people, we give the information away. We tell them, I sound like this. Here's my album. Here's some songs that I've done, the places I've played, the things, the people I've opened up for. I hope you book me. And then I get a call back, or I don't get a call back. It's just a lot of,
That's
it's a lot of feet on the pavement,
Yeah.
just doing it the old school way.
It's funny. You're the third person I've interviewed recently that their parent was involved in their career.
Mhm.
And all three of you come out of the same area, basically.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful for it. A lot of musicians, they don't have the support, the family support
No,
behind them, because you're an artist and you're never going to make a living doing this. The market's too saturated. Like, well, my parents have been behind me since I was 16. You got it. Go do it. Whatever makes you happy. Do it while you can. So, and then it kind of morphed into this thing where, well, this is a career now. So I'm happy doing it. I can just solely focus on my music career now, and I'm blessed for that.
Well, you have the talent to go with it. That's a lot of it, obviously. I mean, if you're not any good, it doesn't
It
matter.
helps. It definitely does. It does help.
And you're in that niche of New Mexico. Used to spend a lot of time in Colorado. So that kind of music you sing is New Mexico, Colorado style,
Hmm.
because it's not really country out there. It's the Michael Martin Murphys or whatever, that kind of guy, and you kind of fit in that because there's so many different places like that out there, and New Mexico is the same way.
I learned that way when I learned it when I came here, that there wasn't a lot of classic country, but there was a lot of Americana kind of songwriter, folksy kind of music.
Yeah.
And what I love so much about this town is one of the many things I love is when I play these shows, there's always these couples that show up in their boots and they just get out there and start dancing to everything that I do. They get to square dance and a two-step and a waltzing, and oh, I love it so much. But they love the classic country tunes. They really do. I was afraid they wouldn't, but they do a lot. They've been booking me like crazy. So I think they like it.
Could be worse.
It could be. It could be a
You're
lot
getting
worse.
booked.
I know.
And do you travel? Do you have a band?
Mm-mm,
Or
I'm
do you,
just solo when I come up here.
so you
I'm
do
working on
a,
getting a band down in Mississippi though right now.
yeah, that'll be different for you. It'll
Hmm
be
I love playing.
great. Oh yeah, it'll be, but I think doing acoustic, I admire people that can sit and hold people's attention playing a guitar,
Hmm
for any length of time. Because, people are like, oh, play a couple, oh yeah, okay, have a drink. Okay, I need a hamburger over here, what, oh, is she still playing? Kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you can
You run
hold
into
them
that.
that. So when was the first time you started recording? I mean, when you went to the
Oh,
studio and said, oh, I want to do a song.
the very first time I recorded,
Yeah.
oh, I was 16 years old,
Okay.
maybe 16 or 17, and I recorded my first album in Fort Payne, Alabama, at Jeff Cook's studio, a little castle. It was an experience. I don't remember how it came about. I know David Hammonds was the spearheaded the whole thing because he was friends with Jeff Cook out of the band Alabama, which is, oh my God. And I was
Yeah.
16, 17 when this was going on. And my first time in a studio, I was terrified. I was terrified to go in there because
Oh,
it
it
wasn't,
scares you.
it's not the same as singing live. And I don't
Mm-mm.
know where that original CD went of, it's like 10 tracks, 10 or 11 tracks.
You
Some of
don't
it
you
was,
don't have it?
it's somewhere. My mama has it somewhere. I
Oh
know she
wow.
does.
Yeah, I'm sure your mom has it.
But I just don't listen to it because it's, oh man, I've gotten so much better,
Yeah,
in like
well,
10 years.
yeah.
10 years does that, but I was 16, my voice was shaky and it was that vibrato you didn't want. And I was just like, people are staring at me from the other side of the glass. I just shut my eyes and sing. And it wasn't great, but it was a really great experience. I took a lot from it and I wanted to go back and be better the next time. So I got to a studio again. I was in, where was it? It was Murfreesboro. I recorded this recent album and I sounded so much better. It was much more comfortable for me. I was older, more mature. I knew what a studio was. I've been in a few before. And this one was for me and my album as an adult, my first adult album I put out. And I wanted to put everything into it. I wanted it to sound the best that it possibly could. And I still think I could do better. I'm like my own worst critic.
I think it's cool that as a solo artist, I can never do that, I don't think. I just too as much as I play with people, I don't know if I could sit down and do something like that in front of people. I don't, and I know when you play in front of your friends, they're supposed to be, we all freak out more about our friends than I do, not people we don't know. And they're the ones that are gonna be less critical about you.
What's the worst thing? And it sounds crazy, but it is so much more difficult to play to a smaller crowd than it is a crowd of thousands of people
Oh yeah.
because you can see all of their eyes and you can see everybody
Yeah.
staring at you and they're just looking right at you. And you feel like you have to impress the entire room. And if you don't, it kind of gets you down in spirits, but it's whatever. But I've gotten over that. But smaller crowds are much more difficult than larger crowds for me. Um,
Well, you said it earlier, when you were 9, you couldn't see past the front row. When they put the spots on you, you can't see
mhm,
squat.
can't
You
see
just,
anything.
you can't see anything. People are like, oh, why didn't you? I go, you kidding me? I couldn't see the front row. And then you have to
There's
do, I
the
used,
abyss.
thank you.
Yeah,
Sure.
there's it.
But I think the other thing is too, I used to speak at a lot of different events and things like that, is it's really easy to hone in on one person.
Mhm.
You just kind of hone it, but you can't really do, because then, like you as a singer, you got to kind of,
Get a
and
pan
it looks,
across.
you got to
Mhm.
pan across.
Mama
And
taught me this thing, playing live shows so I don't get too intimidated by people when I was first starting.
right.
Sitting on that bench in front of that microphone, just like my shoulders up to my ears and nervous. Mama said, don't ever look them in the eyes. Look right here. Look
Yeah,
right
right.
on their forehead. That's where you got to look. And
Yeah.
it's so much easier. And I still use it to this day. I just like look at the foreheads. They think you're looking at them. They love it.
But they don't, but they don't know.
They don't know. I know they don't know. It's a much more comfortable atmosphere. Just looking at their foreheads. It's great.
She's looking at you. I know, isn't that great? It's like that. So if you sit down and are you working on a next, I assume as a writer, you're probably always writing all the
Mhm.
time. When's the next time you say, I'm going to go in and do some stuff? Have you
I
got
want
that
to
on
get
you?
some, I want to get some more things done by the end of the year. I want to get some more
Okay.
songs recorded, maybe some EPs or just some single releases. But I want to get some new material out this year at some point because my last album I put out about a year and a half ago. So it's time for some new stuff. And I know my fans. I made a lot of new fans in the past year. So I gotta up the ante a little bit.
Yeah, you got to keep in front of them all the
Hmm.
time as far as stuff. And I don't know, all the years I've been playing music, such a long time, it just dawned on me recently that music is a consumable item. It
Hmm.
really is because that's why people keep writing new music.
People
It may
get
sound
bored
like
very
they
quickly.
get
The
bored.
audience gets bored so
And
quick,
and I was
especially the.
taught, yeah, I mean, and we were talking the previous interview that I did, talking about nobody buys an album anymore. I mean,
Mhm.
I was talking to a producer that I interviewed several months ago and fairly well known, and he said, Who listens to an album? Nobody." I mean, he says, "You need to." I was talking about my album, and he goes, "I one song a month." You
Mhm.
know, I don't think there's any right or wrong reason to that, and it's trying to keep people's attention nowadays.
Mhm.
And as I told them, I'm a big fan of Tedeschi Trucks Band,
Oh, I
and
love them so much.
well, and they got the new album out, but they said they're not doing a. They're doing. He said, "What do people get used to watching on TV now? Series. That's
Mhm.
what we do. We don't like, we just don't watch movies very much anymore." So that's what they're doing. They're releasing a song every once in a while, like it's part of an overall package, but it's
Mhm.
a series.
Mhm.
Because he said nobody's gonna listen to that album anymore. Not like when I was a kid, you bought an album, you sat down, put the headphones on, and listened to it, or
Yeah.
listen to your car.
In this day and age, it's so different. Everything is technology based. Everything's on the internet. Everything is accessible in 2 seconds. Two little taps on the screen, and you can get whatever you want. So that's the way the brains are wired these days. Like I want something new. I want something different right now. So it's you got to keep them. You got to keep them interested, and that's why I really want to put something out by the end of the year. Kind of show them I've been working on some things, and it's still me. I just have some newer stuff I want you to listen to. So hopefully it'll be done by this year.
Well, and as a songwriter, you never stop.
Mm-mm.
I think there's a time when you probably will just kind of slow down or not do it. I had a long period of time I didn't write anything. In
Mm-hmm.
the last 2 years, I can't stop. I
Writer's
just
block.
finished.
Writer's block is such a real thing, and I experienced that when I moved away from Mississippi. It was like the last 2 years before I came back home, because I was living in Georgia. And when I came back home to Mississippi, it's like being back home. All of these songs were just falling out of me, and I've had writer's block for the past it's like 5 or 6 months after that. After all those songs just fell out, and
Mhm.
well, I don't have anything left. So just give it a month or two, then I started writing again. So it's sometimes you got to give yourself a break, but it's not really work. You just sit down and write.
Well, and the other thing is when you finish one song and you think, well, that's it,
Hmm.
and I come up with that, and you're like, I don't know where the next one's going to come from, and I don't know when the time comes, it just shows up, and you're like, I don't know where it came from. It's like that,
You're not. I love the questions I get from interviews all the time. It's usually people who aren't musicians, so you understand this question you get all the time of how do you write a song? Like, what is your technique to sit down and write a song, Emily? Well, it depends. It always depends. You have either the lyrics first, or you get this really great melody you've already gotten down on guitar, or it's both, or I don't. It comes into you. It's a dream. It's like a visual thing. I don't know. It depends. I can't sit
It-
down and tell you the
you
magic way to
know,
wite a song
people do ask you that though. I
all the
can
time.
see that all the time. How do you
Oh,
do it?
how do you do it?
Go into a little room and I look at pictures of my dog, and it just comes to me. You know,
I have a shrine of all my past animals, and they give me the
and
power.
it just starts coming out of me, and I just start writing about a bridge over some river in Tennessee. Oh, okay, well, okay. I think the saddest thing is people cannot feel what we feel when we perform people that like what we do.
Hmm.
They don't have a clue how that feels. And my wife will ask me when we're with Chapel Heart's a prime example, and they broke down on stage when they got the go. I don't understand. Why are they crying? Well, you can't explain it. You can, if you're not a musician,
Yeah.
you can't explain it. And it doesn't matter if you've worked on it for 10 days or 10 years, if that
hmm
moment hits, you're like, wow.
It's
And
it's no words. I know that they've been working so hard for a big break. They've been working
well, but I'm just
so
talking
hard.
about the feeling, and that's the
In
feeling
general,
that,
no, in general, the whole thing of getting on stage and being recognized for your talent. And that's what really hits home. That you've worked so hard for something and people are appreciating it the same way that you do and singing it to them. They feel some sort of wonder. And I don't know, it's validating. I think that's what the word is.
that's
It's
kind of
validation.
interesting. Wonder is probably, I'd say more of a connection, but it is wonder. I think, and I tell new performers, I said, when you walk on stage, they want to like you. It's
hmm
your job to make sure they don't like you. I mean, because when people walk on, it doesn't matter what you're doing, speaking at an event, performing for people, they want to like you.
hmm
They
Because
just,
you're
they
on that
don't.
stage and they're not. You
And then
know, why
that's
why are you why are you up there?
he's with
You
the
must be
band.
important.
Yeah, it must be
Yeah.
important. He's with the band. Oh wow, don't talk to him. I mean, so, well, and you're blessed to have some great things going for you. You got a great voice, you got a great style to yourself,
Thank
and it
you.
doesn't hurt that you're good looking. I'm just going to put that up front.
That's
I
what
mean,
Mama
seriously.
says too. Mama says I'm pretty.
I bet your mom is good looking too.
We look exactly the same. My mom is beautiful. She's a beautiful soul. I love her so much.
So she's still involved in the industry other than helping you in the music?
Not really. What's so funny is that when I was a kid, she would bring me up on stage with her to sing when I was 9 or 10. And now that I've been out playing a lot of shows, getting a little bit of notoriety or whatever. Just like, Mama, come sing with me. And she said,
Probably
she's just
didn't want
throwing me a
to.
bone now. That's all she's doing. She's throwing Mama a bone. Like, yeah, Mom, I got to make up for all that time. She brought me up on stage.
Does she? I can hear her saying. I don't even know her. I can hear. She just throwing me bone. I can
She's
just
throwing
hear.
me a bone. She's a Southern Belle. I love that woman so much. But no, she's a phenomenal singer. She's wonderful. She's so much better than I am, better than I'll ever be as a human and a musician. You know, I strive to be like her every day.
I think what you're doing is cool because it's hard to be different but be the same.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Yes.
yeah, the country vibe is always going to be there, and people in New York cities don't get it. And and you probably didn't know this, or you may know that country is really hot. I mean, it's still popular over in the UK.
Oh, they
And
love it over there. But they love the old country. They love all the old country over there
yeah,
in the
they
UK.
love that old whiny stuff, as I like to
They
call it,
do. I
where
love
they
the
don't
whiny stuff.
open their mouth. They sing like that, and you're like, why can you not open your mouth and
It was a
sing?
sign of the times. All right, it's
And
fine.
then, of course, you had to have the jacket on, so like you had sunglasses on.
You got to have the rhinestone cowboy whole suit and the frills and the tassels and everything. I love that. I love that so much.
So, what motivates you every day when you get up? I
When
mean,
I get up in the
seriously,
morning,
yeah.
coffee, coffee must have, and then after the coffee,
That and a jelly donut, I get going. No, I mean, do you get up every morning? That's pretty funny.
no,
So,
usually coffee. I get up in the morning, have a cup, and motivates me to continue doing my career and what I do. But I don't know. I don't think I'm able to really do anything else. I think I was put here on this planet to make music and play for
wow.
people. I really don't think I don't want to do anything else. I have hobbies. I do things and go hiking, and I have dogs, and I love to paint and draw and things like that. I have hobbies, but the one thing that I'm supposed to be doing, I found it, and that is a rarity these days. People search their whole lives figuring out what's my purpose. What am I supposed to do with
Oh,
my
yeah.
life?
Oh,
I
yeah.
have this existential crisis. Music,
And
it's
and
easy,
probably you go, I get paid to do this.
and I
This,
get paid. It's like wow.
what's your
This,
job? I don't have a job. I write music and sing to people. Isn't that
yeah,
work?
I work. For,
Yeah,
that's it.
travel.
Yes. I still have people to this day ask me, like, well, what's your real job? You know, like, what's your real job?
That sounds like a parent. What's your
It
real job?
they
Yeah.
they do that a lot. It's a lot of like the younger generation and like the older generation. It's never the in-betweens because they understand. Like the 14, 15-year-old, like, I'm a musician. Oh, that's really cool. But like, what do you do? It pays the bills. That's a plus. You know, that's a plus. I get to quit my job and just fully pursue music.
So what did you do before you did the music? What
Oh
was
my
your
gosh.
jobs?
Well, my jobs. My very first job I ever had, I was 16, 17 years old, and I worked at a noodle store in Gainesville, Georgia. It was called Oodles and Noodles or something like that. And I was a busser. I was a bus girl, so I got to
Oh,
work.
that's the worst.
It wasn't great, but the food was fantastic. So I got to eat all the noodles my little heart desired. And I worked there. Where else did I work? I was a hostess for a while, a server at a place in Canton, Georgia. It's a biker bar. So I was a little old me at the front, just showing these bikers where to sit. And what else did I do? I was at the front desk of it was like a secretary kind of at a vet hospital.
Hmm.
So I was one of those guys that did pretty much everything else in the hospital too. So I was a CNA for a little while.
Mm.
What else did I do? I've done so many little odds and end jobs, you know?
So how old were you when you said, that's it, I'm going to do this full time and I make enough money doing it?
25,
Yeah.
24.
So you'd had a lot of things to do before you got to that point,
Yeah.
because you're still not that old. I mean, but still, yeah, I mean, you're not 18,
Mm-mm.
but you've been down the road enough to know what's going on.
Oh yeah.
And I admire people like yourself. You travel, you have to do what you got to do, and you go, I got another gig, got to keep
Hmm.
going, and you you travel and you may not be home for long, whatever, if it's Meridian or wherever, you may not be home for months.
Hmm.
As they say, the road is your home after a
Yeah.
while.
It is. I love going back home though. People always ask me, when are you moving to Nashville? When are you going to move to a bigger
Mm,
city? I said, well, I don't want to. And my home is Meridian. I have the property my family owns. We have about close to 90 acres of property. It's a farm. I have to help my dad take care of it and plow the fields up. And I have to babysit him at all times. So make sure he doesn't hurt himself. So I go home, help take care of the property. I will never move out of Meridian. That's always going to be my home and where my heart is
yeah.
right there. I go anywhere else on the planet, but Meridian, I'll always go home.
So out of all the songs that you play, that you write yourself, what's your favorite song that you like singing all the time,
All the time that I've written.
that you've written? The one that you go, I
Mm.
can always play this song.
No, Child of Mississippi is like my pride and joy.
There you
I
go.
wrote that song, one of the first songs I wrote when I came back home to my home state. And that's the one that just, there it is, just, oh, wow. uh, it kind of encompasses everything that I did as a kid growing up and my roots and where I came from and being a Mississippi girl. I love that song.
I'm assuming you don't want to be playing the same spots you're playing now 10 years from now. You want to
Absolutely
be
not.
playing, you've opened up for some important people, and that's really the go-to, which
Mhm.
means that's why you're probably putting the band together and probably saying, okay,
It's
I
easier to
got,
get the bigger shows with a
yeah,
band, instead of saying, I'm not saying I don't like playing small shows. I love doing little small quaint things,
right,
especially at the house.
yeah,
It's that's every restaurant has live music. So I can come up here, it's like a vacation and I can play music and make connections and
yep.
nobody knows where it's going to lead. I treat every single show as if somebody so important is going to change my career sitting in the front row, you know, just got to make the best first impression.
That's a good
So
attitude to have,
yeah,
because
every show's
that could be true.
the breaking point. You never know where you're going to make a
Mm-mm.
break or who's going to be sitting out there and who they know.
Miss Emily White, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks,
It's
Greg.
a
I'll talk to you
pleasure.
later.
Take care of yourself. See you.
Thank
Bye.
you.